The new MCU film tells the story of Dr. Stephen Strange, who casts a forbidden spell that opens a portal to the multiverse. However, a threat emerges that may be too big for his team to handle. I watched Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Should you? Let's find out. How's it going, movie watchers? Thank you guys for stopping by my channel. Today we're going to talk about the new MCU film, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. After Spider-Man No Way Home, I was so excited to see what they would do with the multiverse and the endless possibilities of cameos that could be in this film. So many speculations, so many theories about what would happen between Wanda, Dr. Stephen Strange, America Chavez in the film, and all these other cameos that would be in the film. This is directed by Sam Raimi, who did direct the three first Spider-Man films. He also directed the Evil Dead films. And so I was excited to see what kind of horror element would he bring to this Multiverse of Madness film. I think I'm going to be in the minority after reading Twitter reactions and listening to people's thoughts. I thought that this film was all right. It wasn't the best Marvel film I have ever seen, but there is a lot to appreciate about this movie. This is a Sam Raimi film through and through. A lot of his quirks are in here. A lot of the horror elements are brought forth. Probably the most haunting, scariest Marvel film. It's bloody and violent at times. At times it feels like Sam Raimi is borrowing elements from other films like Spider-Man and even Evil Dead as well to really elevate certain action scenes. At times when involving zombie Doctor Strange, which we have seen in the trailers, it feels a bit terrifying at times, and those moments really do work. It feels vastly different than other MCU films we have seen before. So right there, it's a really well-directed film. A lot of it just feels completely different. It utilizes the horror element to its advantage to tell a story at its core about loss, love, and grief, which is with Wanda. Once again, Benedict Cumberbatch is great as Doctor Strange. He has become very comfortable in this role from the first film to now, and all of his appearances along the way. He is someone that I would put my absolute trust in. I really like the character. I've grown to really appreciate this character. I didn't really care much for the first Doctor Strange film, but after this film and everything I've seen him in before, I think that he has grown into a really strong character in the MCU. And Elizabeth Olsen as Wanda possibly gives the best performance in here. If you did not see WandaVision, you're going to have a hard time understanding Doctor Strange into the Multiverse of Madness. If there was no WandaVision, we would have a completely different story, because the storyline that was in WandaVision affects what happens in this movie. And we see in WandaVision that she's dealing with that loss of her family, that grief, and that translates into this movie with obviously the multiverse and her trying to connect with her family. And at times Elizabeth Olsen gives a really emotional performance as we see that she's still struggling with that loss that had happened in WandaVision. At times this film does explore that theme of loss and love quite well, and also at times it's very haunting as well with what she can do. This is a visually appealing film with so many moments dealing with the multiverse, different worlds. We have different visuals that affect the world that they are in. Different worlds are not the same as the world that we see throughout the other MCU films, and we explore different multiverses. Some just very quick, some have really long sequences, but as they're traveling through multiverses, we see different styles and we see different visuals that are very appealing. A lot of the action scenes, them traveling through it, the costumes, all of it looks really great. Now, we knew that there was going to be some cameos, and I don't want to spoil anything for anybody because unfortunately it was spoiled for me before I actually seen the movie. Some of it is awesome. Some of it makes me so excited for what's coming forth for Marvel. Some of it was a little bit disappointing. And that's the tricky thing with the multiverse, is that you don't want it to be a one and done thing. You want it to continue in other films. Like with the Spider-Man films, you want Andrew Garfield, you want Tobey Maguire to be in more films, and hopefully that wasn't just a one and done thing. And that's the problem with the multiverse, is that you don't want these characters that were introduced in this to be a one and done thing. You want more of them, and at times it felt a little bit of a letdown. And with the Multiverse of Madness, I honestly expected a lot more from the cameos, expected a lot more from other minor characters within the film. A lot of it does feel brief and not as important as I thought it would be. And that's where a lot of my issues lies with this film, is that the pace is just so quick. You are immediately thrown into the multiverse within just the first few moments of this movie, and the pace moves very fast. But also at times feels very stretched out. I think the story of Wanda was so strong in the WandaVision series that the continuation of her with her family and dealing with that loss, while it does feel a bit strong, it feels a little bit worn out. It feels a bit repetitive at times. The script is the main issue for me within this film. A lot of it feels completely stretched out when it is dealing with Wanda, Doctor Strange, and America Chavez. When it comes down to the core of it, the three of them have the biggest part within the film, and a lot of it does feel stretched out when they are trying to obtain one object, and so it immediately feels a bit repetitive too. Once you start traveling into the multiverse, I expected a little more madness from this film. With that title, I just didn't get that madness. And at times the film drags, and it is a little bit boring at times, despite a fast pace, some cameos that were fun, and some fun action that stretched out about middle half of the movie, and a little bit repetitive as well. That is where my issue lies with this film, is its script. The acting's great, the direction is great, the horror elements are there, it's fun to look at, but the story isn't as impactful as I thought it would be. And I know that it is a story that is a bit smaller. Even though you're dealing with the multiverse, it is just pertaining to really Wanda and Doctor Strange and America Chavez as well. It does feel quite personal and a bit smaller than what I expected it to be, even if you were including the Illuminati within the film. My expectations were a little higher when it came to the madness of the multiverse, the cameos, and all of the action. Maybe just going into it, I expected a little more. The script is messy. It feels stretched out, completely a bit repetitive at times. And I was surprised with how much America Chavez was within this film. She has a significant role. She is a major character within here, and I like her. There's not a lot of personality to this character. She's often just kind of relying on Doctor Strange to help her out. She's still trying to understand her abilities, but obviously I think there is a lot of room for growth for this character, and I wouldn't mind seeing her again and seeing how she improves along the way. So overall, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, I expected a little more. Visually, it's an appealing film. It feels like Sam Raimi in here mixed with an MCU film. It has your classic MCU tropes and that feel, but also just feels vastly different as well. It's unintentionally funny at times. Kind of brings in that wacky Sam Raimi style of humor within here. I expected more cameos. The script is very messy and completely stretched out and repetitive to the point where it starts to lose its impact and feels a bit worn out at times. But nonetheless, I think it's a film that's going to push things forward and explore more of the multiverse in a fun and exciting way. So before I give you my score for Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, make sure to check out my channel. Here I do movie reviews, trailer reactions, ranking videos, tier lists, all that fun movie related content that you see on YouTube. I do it all here. So hit that subscribe button to get it all in one spot. And if you'd like to see where Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness ranks amongst all of the other 2022 releases I have seen this year, follow me on Letterboxd and there you can find my ranking. I'm going to go ahead and give Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness a B. Thank you guys for checking my review for Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. Have you guys seen it by chance? What do you think about it? Let me know in the comment section down below and stay tuned for more up and coming content like this. My name is Justin Watches Movies, and you guys stay classy, YouTube.